Is this the future of the mainstream media? Has the corporate press become so glib, so predictable, so adept at merely regurgitating official propaganda that they could soon be replaced by robo-reporters? There's a fascinating article today out of the Vancouver Sun entitled "Robo-Reporter Computer Program Raises Questions About Future of Journalists." And it gets into how Ken Schwenker, the digital editor of the Los Angeles Times, and he's not the only one to have done this, but he's created a computer algorithm, a program that actually allows people to write articles in their sleep. That's right, because they're not actually writing them. It's a computer program that draws together different vocabulary statistics and actually puts together an artificial news article. And this piece out of the Vancouver Sun actually says that some of the robo-reporter artificially generated stories are already appearing in the Los Angeles Times. Now, for the moment, this is restricted to data-heavy stories such as earthquake reports, and in the near future they're talking about doing it for sports games that are obviously packed with data, such as basketball games. But the speculation is that mainstream reporters have now become so glib, so predictable, and so used to merely regurgitating what they're told by official sources without questioning it, that they could soon be replaced by robo-reporters, literally just computer programs that grab different quotes, different bits of data, fit them into a story, and then publish them as if it was an original story written by a real person when it's just put together basically by a software program. A couple of months ago we reported on how some restaurants in China were replacing waiters with robots, and this whole move towards the unskilled labour market being supplanted, humans becoming obsolete and replaced by cyborgs. So now it appears that not only is that development starting to emerge in the unskilled labour market, but now in the supposedly skilled market of journalism and writing articles for major newspapers, they're talking about replacing reporters with robots, computer algorithms, and not for detailed stories, not yet at least. It's going to start off with data-rich stories about, earthquakes and basketball matches, as I just said. But this whole wave is moving towards actual journalists and writers being dispensed with, becoming obsolete, and being replaced by cyborgs, basically. And that is the ultimate indictment of the mainstream media, because it's become so unquestioning, so glib, that they're now seriously discussing the idea of replacing journalists with robots and nobody being able to tell the difference. Later on they get into the ethical questions, such as putting someone's name atop a written article he or she didn't in fact write or research. And basically the conclusion in this article is that if the individual journalist concerned wrote the computer algorithm themselves, then it's okay, it's fine and dandy to just have this robo-reporter come out with a regurgitated, artificially manufactured story and pass it off as their own. So completely eliminating any kind of journalistic inquiry into the truth of the story, into the accuracy of the official statements from official sources, and just handing it all over to a computer algorithm which spits out redundant data and official statements without question. And is it really any surprise? Because this is already happening. You don't need robots to do that, because the mainstream media have got it down to a T. Of course, the massive purchase of ammunition by the Department of Homeland Security, even though it's actually happening, it's a real story, has been dismissed by numerous mainstream news websites and leftist blogs as a conspiracy theory. And what was their sole source of information for dismissing it as a conspiracy theory? It was the glib statement of a single DHS official, and they took the word as gospel. So even though that statement made no sense whatsoever, because the DHS official said they were buying the ammo in bulk to save money and it was for training purposes only, when in fact most of the ammo they've bought, supposedly to save money, is in fact not suitable for training purposes because it's hollow point rounds, which cost twice as much as full metal jacket, which would be more suitable for training purposes. So they took that statement, which made no sense whatsoever, and said, nothing to see here, run along. This issue has been dismissed as a conspiracy theory because the government says so. So you've already got mainstream reporters writing articles which could have been written by Robo-Reporters, could have been merely computer algorithms, because they display absolutely zero essence of journalistic inquiry whatsoever. The mainstream media has become so compliant, so unquestioning, so castrated, that this is what your evening news could look like in 5 or 10 years' time. This is Paul Joseph Watson reporting for Infowars.com.